Hi, this is Randy at Perfect Video Conferencing. If you have any questions about this video, download the little guide, and then you can also email us at support@perfectvc.com. That's Perfect Video Conferencing. So the purpose of this video is to address mostly for our customers or our consortium of friends this question about conference bombing or Zoom bombing. And I'm going to be cautious about using the term Zoom bombing because this isn't a phenomenon that's unique to Zoom. It's a phenomenon that is a result of an end user not locking down their meetings properly with some just general best practices. Now, I will review a little bit of the security concerns that some of our clients and customers review that may be unique to Zoom or whatever platform you've chosen. There are some that are a little bit more secure than others, and so you'll need to choose your not only your collaboration platform based on your security requirements, but you should also train your users and adopt some best practices based on the security needs of your organization. So it's twofold, really. What platform and how are you going to use it? And then training and how do the users comply with every security practices or best practices you put in place. As in most things in IT, sometimes the problem is between the camera and the chair. The end user has to behave well in order for the conferencing solution to behave well as well. So if you don't know who we are, let me share a little bit of our content. So we are a video conferencing provider that does mostly AV integration. We also build out the approach to the conference room, as well as the collaboration platform, voice services, and mobile services. You can see us at perfectvc.com. We offer support and maintenance over time and over years. And then we do have a web store. And on that web store, you'll see the products that we service. I'm especially proud of the Sennheiser relationship, and props to Sennheiser for letting me use the demo kit to record these. It also allows me to be mobile. So this is a great home office or desk setup, hands-free, and then crystal clear audio in both directions. So as said, the point of this is Zoom bombing addressing, but it's not really Zoom bombing. It's about meeting security and avoiding unwanted interruptions. Here are the things you can do. Set a PIN code, change your meeting ID, nominate or facilitate a moderator in the meeting, have your meetings be mute all, both audio, camera, and content until you're ready to see, hear, and show. Use new meeting IDs. And if you're going to go to a large group meeting, does everyone really need to be on camera? And if they do, great. All the platforms can support it. But maybe you want to go to a slightly more listen-only broadcast mode. And I'm going to show you both in the life-size platform how this is done and on Zoom. Because again, Zoom's got the headlines, and that's mainly because they went from 10 million users to 200 in the course of a month. And so the scale makes for a great target. There are some ways that you can secure the meetings a little bit more, and there are some solution providers that are slightly more secure, which is why I'm going to show life-size against Zoom a little bit, because there are some inherent feature security components of life-size that make it a little bit easier to lock down your meetings. But again, this is not unique to Zoom, and as everyone's seeing in the press, Zoom is addressing their problems stat. So this is a temporary issue. You can also choose to put your meetings into do not disturb mode, and that's really the key point. If you are really concerned about data security, the bridge service used to be a premise-based solution. Everyone's gone cloud, and with going cloud, you're going to load balance those data centers generally around the world so you can get some scale. There are options, including with Zoom, to have the endpoint connecting and the user's connection using a much more strict AES encryption protocol that locks down the meetings. Once the meeting's in, you can put them in a do not disturb mode. You can also build a bridge in your own ecosystem. So if you're a healthcare provider, government agency, or a law firm that wants to secure privacy, go ahead and lock that down. Build your own bridge or have us do it in your own data center. And there are platforms like BlueJeans and Video and Pexip, Starleaf that can offer some of these local closed loop ecosystems. When you go cloud, you could then look at the scrutiny around where does data go and who's sharing the data. And that's really where Zoom is coming to deliver problems. Fine, they're sending content over to China for app development and call statistics. But is this really the time for us to become xenophobic around products? We rely on lots of countries outside of the States for great services at a cheap price. But do we have to settle for poor security? No. Do we have to have our data be shared without consent? The GDPR shows us that that answer is clearly no. So certainly these problems are ones to address, but we shouldn't throw them under the proverbial bus, as it were. All right, so off the soapbox, onto the product. We love the life-size platform for a few reasons. They're one of the few that not only have a unified directory for room systems, but also individuals. And in that, you can actually add external contacts. So the life-size platform, H323 and SIP, without any extra cost, will allow you to dial out to a Skype meeting or dial in from a Skype meeting, will allow you to dial an IP address. In other platforms, it's extra cost to do this. This goes with the life-size system. And both with life-size and Zoom, you can actually go in and modify the way the invite behaves, and so that the user doesn't get information you don't want them. So, for example, you may want to enable Skype calls in or not, and then they have to download the life-size client or use the browser. You may want to show a passcode in the invite or not. That way there you can send the passcode separately, but the assumption is you've actually set up a passcode. You can also decide who does or doesn't record meetings and lock those permissions down. So at the app level, if I go ahead and create a meeting, a few things that we like to do. If you want this to be a one-time meeting where the meeting ID is available to those that get it, and we recommend you do that through a calendar invite, not through a web posting. So you send out your registration through maybe a Constant Contact or a HubSpot. You know who's received the login information if you're going to a much larger audience. If you go to a large audience, you can also make people listen only so that they don't get on camera. They don't have the ability to send content to you. So you can do a one-time meeting, and if you're going to use your permanent meeting or your one-time, you can actually put in a passcode. Obviously, that's not a great passcode. And you can also hide it from a directory if you don't want it listed in a global address book. So within your large organization, you want to create a meeting that even within your own organization, you can't have people randomly accidentally dial into. A whole host of ways of locking it down. Now, also in the life-size platform, you can assign some roles. Who owns the meeting, who moderates the meeting, and then maybe you want to lecture only. This is a useful feature because if it's in lecture only mode, the only person on screen, the only content being shared is by that lecturer. I see everybody else, but everyone else on the call doesn't see each other. It's a really useful function there. The meeting owner has mute and unmute functionality. The moderator has mute and unmute functionality. So that way there you can have, in Zoom terms, you can have a co-host that helps you facilitate the meeting. And that really is one of the big things about Zoom bombing that I think we need to cut some slack. It's that people have democratized access to video conferencing without thinking that they've democratized video conferencing over the web. And then if you have an ID, you can dial in and jump in. One of the other things that we like about this particular one is you can use, if there's app level security questions, so if you're worried about the end users downloading an application that lives natively on their computer, life-size uses a web-based web app that you can then have anyone in Chrome or other WebRTC supported browsers use that instead of the local app, and it functions and looks and behaves 99% the same as the actual downloaded client. This is true for most providers as well. In the Zoom platform, you'll typically get triggered to download the app, and that can be suppressed. So again, Zoom bombing, conference bombing, not specific to Zoom. I do want to show, lastly, how to lock down your Zoom meetings, because this is one of those things that, if just done right, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Now, this is also at the user level and the global level. So if I go into my meetings, I go to modify my personal meeting room, I have all sorts of things that I can do to lock down and change the behavior of my meeting. Mute, unmute, join before host, put a pin code. I can also do that from the app. So if I roll over to the app and I schedule a meeting, I automatically have I'm already in a meeting, so it's not going to let me do that, but I can generate a brand new meeting ID. I can put a passcode in. Obviously, none of these we use. If I do a recurring meeting and I put a passcode, every week I could log into that meeting and change the passcode and send it to everyone separately. And then this has already been covered in decent coverage, so I'm not going to go into it a lot, but there are all sorts of ways you can have who does or doesn't share content, who does or doesn't join before the host joins, and so you can lock down your meeting if you need to. So I'm doing that at the individual level. The nice thing about the Zoom platform and others like it is that you can also go to the account level and set these globally. So I left on the left the user side. Want to wrap up there, that's my warning. Excellent. So I'll wrap up in 30 seconds. You can go to the individual level, but you can also go to the account level and then change those settings. The value here, do or don't use a personal meeting ID. Those are the ones that people remember, and then dial into who can share content. Maybe you want to lock it down so only people can join from your organization. PIN codes or not. So again, if you're doing this for yourself and you think it's a good organizational practice, Zoom allows you to change that at the organization level. In the event you have any questions about these functions, these features, or how to set them up, we're going to do a few things for our customers. For our existing PVC customers, no charge sessions to train your end users, no charge in sessions to train group facilitators. We will also jump into your meetings and co-facilitate them with you. For those of you who are not a PVC customer, sorry to hear that. We would welcome you aboard. We will do a 1-hour session with your organization in your platform to teach you those best practices. Again, no charge. We will do another 1-hour session if we want to do a train the trainer for meeting facilitators. And then for a charge, we'd be glad to jump in, take a look at your ecosystem, your best practices, and how you're setting up home offices and how you're facilitating meetings. And we will even jump into your meetings and facilitate them for you. So one last screen share and a thank you and a goodbye. Here's the resource just so you can see it in its full detail. There are 12 key points that we wanted to call out. So again, what we do for our existing customers, what we'll do for you if you don't know us, and then really the key points of locking down your meeting are here. Put a PIN code, change your meeting ID, assign a moderator, modify your meetings on a regular basis, and then finally, you can read all the other 12 yourself. Let's learn from kids. Lots of experience coming into my world where students are using a virtual hand raise, a virtual talking stick, and they nominate the next speaker so that that person gets allowed. It's really just good meeting behavior and good facilitation. And if the kids can do it, so too can the adults. Enjoy your great meetings on whatever platform and call us for help should you need it.